Welcome to this math tutorial brought to you by the Math Tutor For You YouTube channel. Glad to have you here. In today's video, we're going to be building upon our knowledge of prime factorization and use it to simplify square roots. So let's get into today's video. Prime factorization. What is it? Prime factorization is when we take a composite number and break it down until we get prime numbers. And when these prime numbers are multiplied together, we'll get our original composite number back. We can use this method to simplify square roots. So the first thing we're going to do is break our number inside of the square root, break it down into its prime factorization. Step number 2, we're going to look for identical factors and we're going to pair them together. If we see a pair, then we can pull it out of the square root, and anything that we have left over stays inside of the square root. So let's go through some problems to make more sense of this. Our first example is going to be the square root of 54. So let's pull out 54, and let's make a factor tree and go through the prime factorization. 54. Well, I can think of 9 times 6 will get me 54. So I'm going to branch go to 9 and a branch go to 6. These are not prime numbers, so I can continue with my tree. 9 I can break up into 3 and 3, and 6 I can break up into 3 and 2. Step number 2, look for pairs. Well, I see I have a pair of 3, so I'm going to circle those. Those pairs I can take out of the square root. So I'm going to be left with 3. I'm going to take it out of the square root. And I have 3 and 2 left over. They don't make a pair. So therefore, they're going to be left underneath the square root. So I'll have 3 square root of 6. I'll multiply 3 by 2. And that'll be what has to stay under the square root. All right, let's go through a more complicated problem. What if we had the square root of 108? So I'm going to take out 108 and want to break it down. Well, I can see there's an 8 at the end, so let's try taking out a 2. So 2 times 54 will get me 108. 2 is prime, but 54 I can still break down. And I can break that down into 9 and 6. I can continue. 9 can be broken down into 3 and 3. And 6 can be broken down into 3 and 2. Now I'm getting to my step of looking for pairs. Well, I'm going to circle my pairs. I have a pair of 3s, and I have a pair of 2s this time. So I'm going to take out a pair of 3s and a pair of 2s. So therefore, I'll have 6. 3 times 2 will get me 6. That's getting taken out. What do I have left over? I have 3. So I'll be left with the square root of 3. So putting it all together, the simplified version of the square root of 108 will be 6 square root of 3. Let's go through another problem. If we had the square root of 124, we're going to take 124 out of the square root, and we're going to do a factor tree. Our prime factorization. Well, we can have 2 times 62 will get us 124. Now we need to break up 62. Well, we can do 2 times 31. And now we need to ask, is 31 a prime number? And the answer is yes. 2 is also a prime number, so we can stop. And we need to look for any pairs that we can combine together. Well, I see 2 2s. Again, looking for our ending of the branch. So 2 and 2, they combine to make a pair. So that means I'm going to take out a 2. So I'll have 2 square root of 31 because the 31 will be left underneath the square root. All right, let's try another example. Square root of 48. We're going to take 48 out, and we're going to do our prime factorization tree. Well, 8 times 6 can get us 48. We can break down 8 into 4 and 2, and 6 we can break it down into 3 and 2. 4 is not prime, so we can break that down farther. I'm going to break it down into 2 and 2. So now I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 again. Only what's at the very end of the branches is what I'm multiplying together. Now I'm going to look for pairs to combine, circling those. So I have a pair of 2's and I have another pair of 2's. So I can pull out 2 2's. So therefore, I'm going to pull out 4. And I'm going to be left with 3 inside. So 4 square root of 3 would be our simplified version of the square root of 48. Hopefully you found this video helpful for going over how to use prime factorization to simplify square roots. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave us a like, and we'll see you in our next math tutorial. Stay tuned.